Hey everyone, TJ Hernandez here with RosterCoach.com, and this is the Week 14 GPP Value Report, where each week I'm going through all of the featured contests on the main slate for both FanDuel and DraftKings to help you out with your weekly game selections so you can see what games best fit your goals by looking at things like how much of the field is paid in each game, how much money is spread out throughout these tournaments, and of course things like the rake. And that should help you guys out when deciding which game is best for you, depending on your buy-in levels or your goals in terms of looking for upside or just a steady grind. And this week on FanDuel, there is one big game that they added, a $1 million first place prize with a $4 million prize pool. So with that, some of these other contests are going to have slightly smaller prize pools than usual, just because the sites are going to distribute the money relatively close to the same overall prize pool on a weekly basis. So that's why we'll see a few smaller prize pools, but nothing too significant. Looking at the games up to the $10 level, just a few contests, as always, with the first place prize above $10,000, the most obvious one being the Sunday Million. That prize pool is down to $1.3 million from $1.4 million last week. A slightly larger percentage of the field being paid. That's up to 21%. But with that reduction in the overall prize pool and the first place prize still being $250,000, there's still 19% of the money going to first place. The other contest with that bigger first place prize at these smaller stakes is the rush at the $5 level, $40,000 to first out of a $200,000 prize pool there, about 20% of the field being paid there, about 20% of the money going to first. All of these other contests, $10,000 or less going to first place. The $4.44 snap is a $60,000 prize pool, $10,000 going to first. Of these contests that are offering at least a 5-digit first place prize, that's paying out the largest percent of the field at 22%, but the first place prize accounts for about 17% of the total prize pool. And if we go down to the $1 level at the dive, $140,000 prize pool with $10,000 going to first, so about 21% of the field being paid in that. But just 7% of the money is going to first place. Of course, that means you're going to be playing a much larger field, over 160,000 entries in that contest. If you're just looking for games with flatter payout structures, two games really stand out at the smaller stakes. 25-cent pancake block, 26% of the field being paid with just 5% of the money going to first. But of course, at that 25-cent level, just under 17% of the money is being raked. The snap at the $2 level, 25% of the field being paid, 5% of the money going to first as well, but a noticeably smaller prize pool compared to the pancake block. Smaller field, just under 60,000 opponents compared to, as I mentioned, over 190,000 in that pancake block. So those are the two flatter contests to consider there. Other games have a prize pool of $5,000 or less, so pretty small first place prizes in those games. Moving up two games priced above $10, that game that I mentioned that was added this week is that $4 million Sunday NFL Fan Championship. It's a $250 buy-in with $1 million going to first, so that steep payout structure that we're used to seeing with these $1 million first place prize contests, 25% of the money going to first, less than 20% of the field being paid out. Got the NFL Bomb, a $33 buy-in, $100,000 to first place. Pretty much the same structure there. 19% of the field being paid, 25% of the money going to first. There's a chance to win $50,000. The Monster at the $444 level. That is the steepest contest that we see on FanDuel's main slate. 18% of the field is being paid. A third of the money is going to first place. So really just kind of shooting for the stars in that one. If you're looking for games that are flatter payout structure or paying out a larger percentage of the field, the ones that really stand out are the kickoff at the $12 level. That game's paying out 26% of the field with a $20,000 first place prize. Again, $12 buy-in there, less than 10,000 entries in that one. So that's a pretty decent balance if you're looking for upside and a relatively flat first place prize. I mean, 20% of the money is going to first, but you're just not going to get a lot of upside if you want to balance that field size with a chance at a decent first place prize. And then the Spin move is paying out 25% of the field, just 12% of the money going to first. That's a $35 buy-in level, but just $3,000 up top in that one. The sweep is a single entry game, pretty similar structure to the spin move, 23% of the field being paid with less than 13% of the money going to first place. Chance to turn $30 into $10,000. And that's also a single entry contest. And as always, as you move up in stakes, you do get that rake drop. So be sure to pay attention to that when you're selecting your games this week. Looking at DraftKings contests, pretty much what we've seen for the most part. There's been a few special contests the past few weeks. This week, DraftKings is getting back to their normal contests that they've been running. So the big game at these smaller stakes is the play action, a slightly smaller prize pool than we've seen in the past, $1 million prize pool in the play action at the $3 level, and that first place prize is a little bit lower, $50,000 going to first place there. But that structure remains pretty much the same, with about 27% of the field being paid. Only other contest below $10 that's offering at least a 5-digit first place prize is the post pattern at the $8 buy-in level. $25,000 first place prize, which accounts for 10% of the $250,000 prize pool, and about 26% of the field being paid out in that. We see a few contests with that decent prize structure that I just mentioned in those two games. The daily dollar at the $1 level and the safety at the $2 level, both paying out about 27% of the field, with 5% of the money going to first, but only $500 up top in those games. So you are getting a really good payout structure, but not a lot of upside. The nickel at the $5 level, that's a 3-max contest with $2,000 up top, 25% of the field being paid there. And then the bubble screen paying out 26% of the field at the $9 level. That's also a 3-max game with a chance to win $1,500. But no other really contests that stand out in terms of nice balance of upside or relatively small player pool and a flatter payout structure. So those are the games that stand out at these lower stakes. And finally, looking at games priced above the $10 level on DraftKings this week, the Millionaire back to a $3 million prize pool, which means a third of the money is going to first place. Only 22% of the field being paid in that one. That's by far the steepest game we're going to see on DraftKings this week. Move up to that $150 level. You have a chance to turn $150 into $100,000 in the power sweep. Again, just over 22% of the field being paid in that one. Pretty much the same structure as the Wildcat at the $333 level, $150,000 going to first place in that game. The games that do stand out in terms of how much of the field is being paid, we have the Fair Catch, which is a single entry contest at the $12 level, the Red Zone, which is also a single entry contest at the $50 level, Goal Line at the $75 level is a 3-max game, and the Stiff Arm, a single entry contest at the $555 level. All of those contests paying out about 25% of the field. And as always, as you move up $50 and above, you start seeing a pretty significant reduction in rake. So definitely looking at those games in terms of a decent payout. One game that seems to offer a pretty decent balance of both is the 4th down conversion, which is a single entry contest at the $40 buy-in level, a chance to turn your $40 into $15,000, and 25% of the field is being paid in that one. The rest of these games, we're looking at that steeper structure that we're used to at these higher stakes, but again, you are getting a reduction in the rake, so just kind of looking to balance that with some things like how much you'll multiply your money by if you min cash, or looking at things like size of the field, and as usual, if you are looking for smaller field size, you're probably going to sacrifice a little bit of upside there, but a couple changes, especially on FanDuel this week, so hopefully that helps you guys out with your game selection. As always, TJ Hernandez here with RosterCoach.com. Thank you for watching.